Okay, the next piece that we're going to make is the actual wheel, and we only have to make one of these because when it comes time to the assembly, we'll just place 4 of the same file in there. Common mistake for the beginners is that they want to actually draw the circle and extrude it back to this thickness, but what we're actually going to do is draw the section profile and then revolve it around that point. So again, I'm just going to create a new sketch and sketch that out here. Now before I start, what I want to mention is notice how there's that hole in here, and same thing, you can either draw this as a full part and then drill the hole later, or just draw it in there right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw it in there right now, and this center line that I'll be drawing is just going to be the axis, so I have something to revolve around. Okay, so I'm just going to place that there. That's going to be the very center of my axle hole, and from here I can just go ahead and start sketching that out. If you notice that I just drew this bottom line here, I'm going to wait to draw the arch for that round over, and then for these parts here I'm just going to draw them with 90 degrees and worry about the fillets later. Okay, so here all I'm doing is going up, line, give the thickness, get the overall shape, and then I can worry about dimensioning it. Okay, so I know from the center of my wheel to the end point, or the center mark of that radius, is 1 inch. So I'm going to dimension from, again, the center line to the axis to the end point of that line that I drew. That's 1 inch. Okay, that scales everything up, gives me the thickness of 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to dimension that as well. 0.25. And if this ends up happening where it actually bumps that down, you can either leave it. I'm actually going to adjust that just because it's a pet peeve. So I dimension from the end point of my origin to the end point of this line. I'm just going to change that to 0. Okay, so that locks in that line there. Again, adjusting the thickness, 1/4 of an inch. And the thickness of this thin section right here is 1/8 inch, or 0.125. Okay. Here I can start dimensioning where those line changes take place, or lengthwise. Okay, so I have 1/4 inch and 3/4 of an inch. So again, that's based off the center line. So from the center line here, it's 1/4 of an inch. From the center line to that next, I guess, step up was 0.75. So I'm going to dimension that there. Here what I can do is place a point, and it's going to be this line, because we've dimensioned off of the end point of this line here, and you can see that it doesn't necessarily say it, but it shows that it's centered. Okay, so it's centered, it's on the same plane as this line right here. So I can bring my point across and find that end point and go there. And then just to double check, I'm going to dimension from, again, making sure this is the axis line. From the axis line to here, that's 1 inch. And from the bottom of my wheel up is going to be 1/8 of an inch. Okay, it already says that it's constrained, so you can either at this point hit accept or cancel. I'm just going to hit accept just so I can make sure that that's there, and I can bring this point back and I'll extend it later. Or actually, I can just do this. I'm just going to go from the center line to this end point. That's going to be 1 inch as well. And from here, again, using my arch with the center point, I take my center point there. So now I'm based off of here, and I have from my end point, draw it up from the bottom of that end line. Oops. Why isn't that letting me do it? Here, I'll just try a 3-point arch then. Here, I want that end point, and I can dimension the radius as 1/8 inch. Hit accept. Okay, or just make sure that they're tangent. So again, the radius is 1/8 of an inch. That's all that we can do for this line. Oh, no, it's not. We have to dimension here because you say see that still says 2 dimensions are missing, and if I grab this green line, I can actually move this back and forth. So what that's dealing with is the diameter of this hole. Okay, and a lot of people, what they'll do, okay, so what I was saying is that if I grab this endpoint, or this line right here, I can still move it, so I could adjust my diameter. Okay, so I need to actually dimension that point, and if I look back on my Word document, okay, if I look back on my Word document, I can't find the actual diameter. So again, this is giving me this 1/4 of an inch. Okay, that's from my axis line to this first line change here, where it drops down. And if you notice, you scroll down, there's a couple different views here of the wheel, and it says that the diameter is 0.28, and that's a through hole. Okay, so I can again have my diameter right there, so I can either cut that in half, okay, which is 0.14, or treat it like a math problem, go 0.28 divided by 2. Okay, so now I have, it says again this one dimension is needed, and that's based off of my axis line, which is just there for construction. Okay, so you don't need that to dimension that if you don't want to. Finish your sketch and then revolve it. So you selected your profile. It's looking for what axis you want to revolve it around, and that's going to be that one right there. Okay, so now I have my wheel. Now the next step that I want to deal with is these fillets. Okay, so I'm going to want to get these 4 corners, soften those out, make it a little bit more realistic, and you can see that it says 0.0625 and the TYP, so that stands for typical, so that means all these roundovers here are 0.0625. So I'm going to use my fillet tool, change the radius, 0.0625, and right now it said that there's 0 edges selected, so I have to click on that pencil and tell it what edges I want to select. So notice how I can select those inside curves and the outside curves as well. I'm going to hit OK, because that's all I have to do from there. Alright, next step that we'll do is actually the backside cutting these holes in there. Okay, so it makes it a little bit easier for doing basing that peg where the actual linkage arm is going to hook up to that. So what I want to do is on the back side, just because it's easier, so zoom to your back side, place a 2D sketch on there, and from here I can go ahead and draw on this one. Now a lot of people think that, again, that you have to draw all 6 of them, but we're just going to draw the one and then array it around in a pattern so that we only have to draw it once and they'll all turn out the same. So all I'm going to do here is I'll just start by drawing a line. So mine's based off of the center point. So that's right there, and you can notice right here. So if I'm looking at this one, it says that it's 30 degrees from those 2 lines that I just drew. So like these dimension lines, if you imagine that they are these green construction lines that I just drew right here, you can dimension between those 30 degrees. Okay, and if you notice, it's kind of cockeyed, it's not centered, so I'm just going to draw another one up. Okay, and I know that that is, I guess I can say, perfect, or plumb. So your dimension from there to there, half of 30 is 15. So type in the 15 degrees, so that centered it. Again, just helps you kind of overall understanding what dimensions go where and everything. Alright, now what you'll do is you have your radiuses here. Okay, so these radiuses are just for this endpoint. So I could either do an arch starting with my center point, or I could draw a circle and then trim it up. Okay, so I'm just going to start with an arch starting with the center. Again, select the center. It's going to be the center point there, and right now it's asking me for the radius. The first radius is 0.375, so I'm just going to go 0.375. click there and there, right, and I can actually trim that up. Right, next that I want to do is the outside radius, which is 0.625, and again, same thing, center point arch, go up radius 0.625, click there once, there, oops, there you got your arches drawn. Then you can trim those up. Right there. Then what we'll do is we're going to use our circle pattern or array. That geometry that I want to revolve is going to be this one. Okay, and these side edges here. And I don't feel like doing it 12 times. So I'm going to trim those up. Oops, I actually deleted my lines. Oh, good thing I saw that, because my line didn't begin at my center point. Alright, so here I have that, and I'm just going to delete those two lines, dimension again, make sure that I'm at 30, so see I was off a little bit. So I have to go from there, 30, redimension, check again, that's 15, that locks that in. You can just extend this here, and I'm going to trim this line there, and trim this line up, and delete this as well, and just go back and dimension that. Okay, so that's 30. And I also need my radiuses thrown in there. Okay, so that kind of messed up, so it's 0.375, 0.375, brings that back down, and my overall arch itself is 0.625, so that's that one hole that needs to be extruded through. Then what I'm going to do is take a circle pattern, now that I finally got it all figured out, and select what geometry I want. So I want all 4 of those pieces, what axis, I want it around that center axis, and it needs to be 6 patterns thrown around 360 degrees. Okay, so that does that. It gives me all the patterns. From there I can then hit finish 2D sketch, and I'm going to extrude. Okay, and so I'm going to select all these patterns, and again I want to make a cut. So it's going to be a cut, and it's going to be through all. Okay, we're almost running out of time, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to save it here, and then we'll do part 2 to get the actual linkage arm. Okay, so where the linkage arm attaches to that.